So I'm Harminder and I'm studying at the University of Wolverhampton and I'm doing my BA in Social Care and Social Policy.
Hello, my name is Dalvinder Singh. I'm going into my third year of study at the University of Westminster. I'm studying computer science.
I studied a bachelor's in drama and English at Brunel University. I then went on a couple of years later to do my master's in social work at the University of Leicester. So I had 2 experiences of living away from home, which was really scary.
Hi, my name is Simran Singh. I recently graduated in Business Information Systems at the University of Westminster. I chose that course because I wanted to go down the business route that linked with information management and data management.
One of the reasons that I picked drama and English, which was at the time when I picked the course, which is going back about 10 years, there just weren't very many people from the South Asian community taking a creative degree, and so it meant a lot to me to kind of continue that as one of the things that was my strengths. After doing the degree though, I kind of felt like it maybe wasn't quite the career path I wanted to continue pursuing. So after a period of working in that arena, I decided to go on and do further education to get to where I felt I wanted to be.
I personally chose social care and social policy more because of the barriers I had encountered during secondary school and college, and the way forward from coming out of that stigma and discrimination was education. So at a later date, now that I'm ready to go into full-time education again, I've gone back to university and I've just completed my first year at university.
So what were some of those barriers? What made it scary going?
Anxiety, mental health, depression, self-harming, but there was always a passion in there to want to move forward, to be better, and living in a South Asian family, nobody understood those. So it was about, I always felt isolated, but again, with a good support network from professionals, medicals and family, I found my feet and now was the right time to move forward with that decision.
It's interesting hearing you say that, because for you it's going in a little bit later into education. With me, it was like the opposite way round, like going from like sixth form into uni. I felt like, do I really know what I want right now? And it was kind of scary, like thinking I'm supposed to make the decisions of the rest of my life, like age 17, like now. And that was a lot to deal with, and you know, it wasn't easy trying to think those things through. So I'm grateful that later on I kind of had the chance to maybe sort of, you know, do better what I wanted to maybe do. So yeah, that was a barrier. I think age, you know, in its own way has its kind of barrier, right?
So did you guys choose to live in or live out from uni?
I decided to commute to uni. One of the main factors was cost. Accommodations nowadays, especially for university, are really expensive. And on top of that, I think it's a good experience to travel. For instance, when I was going to school, I was walking to school because I lived quite close to it. But knowing that after university I would get a job and I would have to commute by train, going to university gave me that experience, something that I wouldn't have been able to do if I was living out. So to be quite honest, living out wasn't really an option for me because I already had my mind focused and heart set on travelling and commuting every day.
So, similar to what you said about it kind of trains you, so when you get a job and you start commuting, it kind of trains you, pushes you into that mindset, I have to get up this time, do this and that, and get done this time. So it was a good way of training us to get ready for that job world, you could say.
For me personally, I wanted to stay home. Mine was more based on I'd built a life for myself, and to uproot all of that at 32 was just never going to work for me. So I chose a university that had good accessibility, good commute, and because of my anxieties, I was in an environment I felt comfortable with. So for me, coming and going to university, it didn't uproot everything. So it just felt right. It was a good decision, gut feeling.
Yeah, playing to your strengths.
Yeah.
Mine was a bit like that. In again in a slightly different way. I decided to think, well, maybe I wanted a bit of change and going to another area, but that was really scary because none of my friends came. I first came to London and I didn't know anyone. Like, I didn't have any friends that also relocated to this area. I wasn't familiar with anything, and that feeling of arriving, thinking, oh my gosh, what do I do now? That was quite overwhelming.
So my first day at university, I didn't know how to feel because it was a new environment, new people, different types of people. So I didn't know what to expect. However, when I got there, I felt very excited. I felt quite independent.
So when I first started uni, my main anxiety, I think, for myself was being a mature student. How was I going to mix with the younger students or potentially older students than myself? But I think my biggest surprise was one of my closest friends today is a 19-year-old. So the stigma that comes with that you can't mix with generations or you won't have mutual interests, it's a myth. Just don't believe it. You can mix with anyone. Freshers Week, literally walk around with a smile. Even if English isn't your first language, any language, a smile is always an icebreaker and everyone recognises that. So yeah, but my first night out was memorable.
So moving on to you talking about your anxiety or talking about some of the issues you faced while studying at university, did you find that university was there to give you any support?
The university have been absolutely fabulous. Again, it's up to us as individuals that we have to tap into these. During Freshers Week, we had inductions, so we were continually told about health and well-being, stay safe, plan.
So how did those wellbeing services help you personally while you were at university?
The wellbeing services for me personally helped me with signposting me and helping me with my non-epileptic seizures. It reminded me that there were services available on campus, off campus, and there was tutors there available, and to utilise all these people. If I had any problems, it wasn't that a problem would be overlooked or underlooked. It was about speaking to someone. Until you speak to someone, nobody can acknowledge your problem, so how will you find a solution? So to break that, you have to speak to somebody, and there's always a solution to any problem. And you may not get that solution from the first point of call, but there's they have a system, and the system will come through for you. Persevere.
And how did you speak to those services about your seizures?
For myself personally, because of how my seizures are so unexpected, I was quite open. I knew everything that was being said was going to be said in confidentiality, so no one would break that. So it was having open conversations, being honest about what I needed. I'm at university to see an end goal of walking away with my degree, so to get that, I need things put in place for myself. But without the professionals, as in the lecturers or head of departments, knowing what I needed, they can't provide for me. So you do need to sit down and have conversations. And you're not being judged. You are not being judged. They're all there for you, to help you. And we're there because we want to be there too.
One thing I realised is that the tutors, especially that we had at our university, they really do help. And the friends that you make as well, they're all up for helping as well.
So what tips would you give to students who are joining university at this moment?
For me, it would be know your surroundings. When I relate to your surroundings, I mean know where the offices are. In my induction week personally, I made a list of where mental health and wellbeing was, the disability officer, student union, the medical centre, first aiders, and who my personal tutor was, because that was important for if I have seizures. And I also need to have a action sheet put into place. So all these things were very important. So definitely lists, know your surroundings, and go and speak to these people face to face. It's always good to have a face and a name together, so you know who you're interacting with on a daily basis.
I guess kind of similar, just getting to know your surroundings. Some of the things I did before uni, I went onto like their website so I could get a feel for like what there was, but not everything's always on the website, but it just gave me something to begin from. And then when I got there, I could ask more questions about some of the stuff I'd kind of read up on. And if unsure, like I could pick up the phone and call any of those services, and just storing like those important numbers in your phone, because you never know when you're going to need them. I had an experience where I did need to reach out to like the student union and stuff, but I wasn't close enough to where I was at that point, so I was able to just do things like, oh, I've got the number in my phone, I can make a call and just, you know, sort of talk some of these things through until I'm next on campus to be able to have maybe a face-to-face consultation. A bit like you said, know your services, know what's around, and, you know, like, just don't be afraid to ask any questions.
Yeah.
Like, ask questions to the people around you, but ask questions in time you do get with uni professionals and stuff. Like, people will be able to signpost you around different places.
So I found joining societies, like for me, I joined the Seat Society. You meet people there who are going through the same experiences, so you're able to share with them your thoughts, how you go about things, and then also they get to share, and then you can use those things and learn from each other to help you. But also going as friends, as a group, to, for instance, we used to go to the Gurdwara, the local Gurdwara, and we used to go and do Kirtan, and it was a way of relaxing our mind and bringing peace to ourselves. Not just that, but we used to go to bowling, we used to go skating as well. These things took our mind off of the work, released stress. Then when we went back to doing the work, what we found was we could do it better. We felt fresh, and it felt easier to do the work. But as an individual, away from university, I used to go to the gym. So when we used to have our breaks and we used to do our work, we had deadlines. I couldn't meet up with my friends, so I used to go to the gym, and it was a way of releasing stress, taking my mind off of things, and yeah. So, but definitely mixing with people who's going through the same experiences really helped, and going out with them.
Yeah, just pretty much echoing everything Christopher has said. I think one of the main things that I'd done during freshers was try to sign up to a varied amount of societies. So although I had Sikh Society, I had as I was doing computer science, I also made sure I joined programming society so I could meet more like-minded people. I joined quite a few sports societies, so football, badminton, sports like that. That really helped me take my mind away from things like my deadline and keep me less stressed. As Hassan was saying, we used to go to the local Gurdwara, but we used to go all together. I think community is a really big thing when you want to eradicate stress. When you go with, not just by yourself, because that can feel quite lonely, but when you go with multiple people, it really helps. So that's definitely how I did reduce my stress.
Okay, finally, is there any advice or tips you would give to anyone who is starting university, or any advice that you would give to yourself if you was going back to uni on the first day?
So I would firstly say, join as many societies as you can. It's the best way to mingle in with people who are like-minded. And another thing is to create a good relationship with your lecturers, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to be marking your work, who are going to be teaching you. If you create a good relationship with them, they will look out for you, they will help you. I think that's...
Yeah, I mean, in terms of things that I would definitely suggest to freshers as well, make sure that you attend all your lectures, all your seminars, all your tutorials, because once you've missed one, you're behind. Although it is easy to catch up, I mean, through friends and stuff like that, and going to your tutor outside of lecture and tutorial times, I would definitely suggest make sure that you go to all your lectures and tutorials. And just as Simran said as well, make sure you have a good amount of people around you. One thing that's quite common is people can feel quite lonely around in uni, especially as they're like new and sometimes they just go by themselves with no one from like previous colleges or sixth forms. So you have to make sure that you have good surroundings around you. You have to make sure that, like someone was saying, that you join as many societies as you want, as you can. Make sure they're varied, so like not just purely religious, not just purely sport, or make sure they're quite different from each other, and that way you kind of meet different people, and for each situation certain friends help more than others, so it's definitely better to do that.
And definitely explore your university, explore your whatever city you're in.
Things that you can do as students, they will cost more if you do it outside of being a student, so make sure that you take full advantage of being a student at a university.
And don't be scared to mingle in with people on your course. At the end of the day, you guys can help each other doing your work, doing your coursework. So don't be afraid to mingle in.